I saw Mark's play Howie the Rookie at the Bush in London. God, I don't know, that must be 3.5, 4 years ago now. And shortly after that, I contacted him and met him, and we talked about films, and he said he wasn't that interested in writing screenplays, but I think he was just being a bit guarded about it, because 3-4 months later, he called me and said that he had written a screenplay. Did I want to have a look at it? And he just said, you know, let nobody know that he was writing this thing, and this huge manuscript arrived.
I read it, I thought it was fabulous. It was, we had just started up the Company of Wolves, myself and Stephen Woolley, and we were looking for interesting work to produce, you know, like this was particularly good because on the one hand you had a director who'd never made a film before, John, and on the other hand you had a script by a writer who'd never written a screenplay before, you know, and it was, I just thought it was great.
This script I found extraordinarily original for a contemporary Irish piece, or certainly a contemporary European piece. It didn't feel at all like Dublin or London or Paris or of any particular place. It felt very universal. Unbelievably, given what I think is the possible commercial potential of this film, the funding was extremely difficult. It is a truism, I think, is that films that turn out to be splendid films are often the most difficult to make. And this film stayed with us for some time.
In story terms, Intermission is very real. It's about real people, real lives. And whilst it's got elements of, I mean, extremely funny moments, extremely kind of black moments, what's there is a sort of an underlying truth about the way people behave with one another and interact with one another, and about ultimately how we deal with love and how that impacts on our lives, and how we suffer the consequences of it working and not working. And that's, I think there's a real truth to the centre of it.
It's a very complicated script. You know, there's a lot of different stories going on. I think there's about 11 stories with about 12 main characters, I think, and I think in all there's like 50 speaking parts, which is much more than an average movie.
What impressed me with John Crowley, the director, and I have worked with a lot of first-time directors, is that he spoke very highly and very intelligently about how this kind of material could translate to the screen. So even though John had never had has very little film experience, he I think directed only one of the Becketts before Intermission. His enthusiasm and his huge intelligence and his obvious sensitivity towards acting. I've seen quite a lot of John's theatre work, and the one thing that Intermission needs is a real rapport with the director so that the performances will stand out. So John's sensitivity towards acting and his ability to be guided by a good team of experienced filmmakers into areas which he will be experiencing for the first time impressed me hugely.
John has a fantastic vision and is extremely focused about what he's looking for. His experience in the theatre very clearly shows with how he works with the actors, and they respond very well to him. And that is working means that the crew have been inspired into, you know, it's just a good place to be for them. They enjoy it. And it's fun to be around, you know, to watch those actors working is actually fun to be around. So that keeps the kind of momentum going.
The final cast is stunning. I would never have thought of those any of those people in the first place, but he's picked a fantastic group of actors, you know, and they all seem pretty much perfect for the parts. But you never actually see. I mean, when you write a part, you never actually see the character's face. You only see the character's face when an actor comes on board and gives the character a face, you know. So, but they all seem to suit exactly what I was thinking of anyway.
It's a pretty faultless cast, you know. You can't go too far wrong with them, and it's been a huge pleasure and an honour actually to work with them.
Basically, it's just a story just about, I think, just people going through life and looking for love and looking for the future in today. My character, Lahiv, is looking for a way out of just being a petty criminal. He's looking for kind of a decent score so he can get a bit of bread in the bank and maybe go on the straight and narrow, you know, maybe get a little gaff for himself and all that kind of stuff. Oscar and John, who are played by David Wilmot and Cillian Murphy, are looking for love and, you know, looking for a decent relationship and just looking to get by in life, and people that are just trying to find their feet, you know.
All right, John boy. Sorry for your troubles, man. What? Yeah, a point against, please, Seamus. I heard about your Brian Cup. This is Lahif, by the way. Come here. When you join us over here, we've got some business.
A proposition.
Got a proposition we want to run by you. Potential of a few quid, man.
Many a quid's potential. Volley is over. There's really lovely scenes, really gentle scenes, which are juxtaposed with then the madness and wave behind a scumbag coming in, aren't I story. So you have that on one hand, and then the kind of heist that goes kind of wrong, and then on the other hand you have these really gentle, really quiet scenes that I'm sure will be downplayed and completely honest and sincere and stuff.
So how goes the fight against crime?
All right. It's never ending, though. See what I mean? Have you not got a sign that says toilets for patrons' use only?
Right, yeah.
I'll have to enforce that rule. Give us another 7 up there, will you?
The script, it's just deadly. It's just a brilliant Marco Rowe. It's just a really, really, really special script. Again, with all the comedy in it and all the violence and all the kind of romanticism, and it's just a really honest, really lovely script.
Looking for love. It's tough.
It is. How do we get onto this?
Dunno. And it's frightening.
A lot of bad decisions you can make.
A lot of wrong turns, exactly. Potential for heartbreak, for hurt. But you persevere.
You reckon?
Ah, yeah. You got to, do you not think?
No, I do. I mean, what else is there?
Exactly.
So my character, John, we met him at the start and he's broken up with his girlfriend. And his journey really is to try and win her back, but he goes about it in the most convoluted and pointless way, really, and as a result he has all these adventures. He's a typical Irish male in one way, in that he's very reluctant to speak his heart and very much reluctant to say what he actually feels, and he goes about things more through his actions than his words, you know, which tends to leave other people a bit baffled, especially his girlfriend Deirdre.
Talk to me like you're talking. I'll crack your baldy head, man. And I know you're baldy. I'll be the worst enemy you ever... You ever f***ing had, you hear me?
Cut.
Deirdre, once she's got her teeth into something, she's sort of fairly stubborn, and she's had her heart broken by John, but she decides she's going to be fine, and she's a mess for a short while, but she thinks, no, you know, I'm going to go on with my life and I'm going to be fine and everything's fine, and so she's very sort of like that the whole way through the film, but she's a sensitive soul, sort of deep down, I think.
You don't just hook up with the next fella who walks by. The only reason you do that is if you never cared in the first place. And that's cold, man. That is the behaviour of, and I have no qualms about saying it, a whore. And not with a heart of gold. No,
okay.
With a heart of stone. A cold heart.
It's most definitely a comedy, but there is lots of romance and kind of lots of awkward characters that don't really, nobody's really got their lives together, which is fine, but it makes for some sort of comical scenes, I think.
So this fella's moving in with you?
Yes. Well, what do you want me to do? Be like Sally, give up on them altogether, grow myself attached.
Sally doesn't.
Sally has a tash, ma. Whatever she did before, bleached or waxed, she's quit.
Yeah, Jerry is a detective who he kind of takes crime personally, and it's like a personal affront to him, and it's just he's on a personal crusade to kind of clean up the streets, which, you know, was a kind of a key to the kind of character he is. He's a little bit unhinged,
Although he functions quite well, but it makes him. It makes his reaction to certain, he very often overreacts to sort of fairly minor situations, but it also kind of makes him a slight source of amusement to his fellow cops, because they just think he's a total lunatic.
It's a sty, my life. The people I deal with are piss, waste. Is that what you're interested in? I'm a fuck man. I mean, the only really human quality to speak of is a fondness for Celtic mysticism.
What's that?
The music, man. Artists like Fáinne Lasta, Ranyok, Aon and Yalok, Clonard. You like them artists? Their music? Of course you do. But what I'm saying is, the kind of justice I'm questing requires a certain attitude that people might find, extreme or unpleasant. Might not be suitable, Grab it.
I think this film has the potential to be a really breakout film. I think it's a low budget, and it's a first-time writer, a first-time director, but I really think it has the potential to be. I think it's so good, it's so well written, and John's doing such a good job. The performances, the cast he got together is fantastic, just phenomenal cast. And I hope, but I really have a kind of a feeling that it has the potential to be a major breakout film, no, I don't just mean like a successful film on the art circuit or a festival film, but a commercially successful film, because it's very, very funny stuff.
Here, look at this. I got them in the joke shop so we can drive the bloke to the bank. Anyone looks, they see real people, but not the right people.
Clever.
Better fucking believe it. This shirt you've got to be Stephen Hawking. Hawkins. Which is it?
Hawking.